Hello everyone, this is Carrie from PhotoBook Fanatic, and I'm so glad you can join me today to learn about a very important design technique called aesthetics. The purpose of this video is to discuss what aesthetics is, talk about the two components of aesthetics, and then show you examples of how I applied those components to design a PhotoBook page. Because we all know that when you're learning something, it's not just about what something is. To truly get it, you have to know the how and the why, which makes examples super important. And to test your aesthetic analysis skills, I have created a separate part 2 video for you to explore even more examples and get more inspiration. As I introduce this video, I'm going to give you a preview of these example PhotoBook pages I will be discussing in both part 1 and part 2 of this video. Please note that I copy and pasted both 2-page spreads and single pages like this one from albums of different sizes, square and rectangle shaped. So you'll notice a white border of varying size, either horizontally or vertically along the pages. Please ignore this border. It is not part of the design. Before I dive into aesthetics, which is just one part of design technique, I want to give you a quick overview of my design process so you can understand what I'm doing. My PhotoBook pages are designed to create a high degree of interest and engagement for the reader. These are the two main processes to my designs. Now within interest, there are two parts. One is randomizing, which I cover on another PhotoBook Fanatic video. This deals with photo and embellishment placement, so it is employed first when designing. And the second part of interest is aesthetics, which I'm going to be discussing here. Now I mentioned that the two main processes of design are interest and engagement. So what is engagement? Well, in this process, the reader makes a connection with the event or the people photographed, and a deeper understanding develops. During engagement, the reader comes away either feeling something, learning something, or seeing something, and this becomes an experience that creates a memory. Think how important this process will be to future generations as they read your photo book. And this is really at the heart of why I make my photo books, because it's not just for me to cherish, but for others to enjoy as well. And just so you know, I have another video devoted entirely to engagement that you should check out. Or if you would just like a basic overview of all of these design concepts, please check out my YouTube video titled PhotoBook Design Introduction by PhotoBook Fanatic. All of my PhotoBook page designs shown in this video were created using Shutterfly Media, although today's video is all about technique, which is applicable to any design media. Whether that's another online PhotoBook service, or maybe you prefer to do handmade scrapbooking with paper piecing, or even card making, which is how I got started in designing many years ago. So this video can be helpful to many designers, not just those who use Shutterfly. Now I'm going to chat for a little bit about what aesthetics is and why it is important to design. So what is aesthetics? Well, when someone says that something is aesthetically pleasing, it means that it looks nice. It's pleasing to the eye. It is something that the viewer is finding favorable. And when this happens, you are gaining the viewer's interest in the subject. Basically, you have their attention and they are ready to move on to the next level of the experience, which is engagement. So how do you use aesthetics to gain interest? Well, you do that in two ways. The first way is color choice, which means that you select colors for the background, frames, and embellishment. But how do you know what colors to pick? Well, aesthetically pleasing PhotoBook pages use colors in one of three ways. The colors are either 1, complementary to the photo environment, meaning the location of the picture, like beach or mountains. 2, the colors are complementary to the people in the picture, so they coordinate with clothing, costumes, and outfits. And 3, another great use of color is contrast, when the color is selected nearly opposite to those in the photos. In general, I usually go with a tricolor system, meaning I select 3 colors, because it not only provides you with more options when it comes time to pick embellishments, which is the second part of aesthetics, but also because 3 colors is more pleasing to the eye. So the reader spends more time checking out the page, which will hopefully lead to engagement. All right. The second part of aesthetics, which I kind of gave away already, is embellishments, which are a lot of fun to pick out and add to the PhotoBook page. And if you use Shutterfly like I do, you will be very satisfied because they offer a lot of options with their ribbon and sticker selection. Okay, enough chit-chat. It's time to analyze these examples. So with each page, I'm going to answer two questions, the how and the why. The first deals with color choice. Specifically, how did I pick the color choice? What was my inspiration? And usually there's three possible answers that I went over just a second ago. Is the color based on the photo environment? Is the color based on the people in the photos? Or is the color a contrast to the photos? And the second question we're going to answer deals with the embellishments. Specifically, why did I choose those particular embellishments? What about them is complementary to the color theme, environment, or people? All right, let's look at our first photo page. The tricolor theme here is aquamarine, light blue, and green with the supporting color as white. So where did these colors come from? Is it environment, people, or contrast? Well, hopefully it's easy to see that the colors come from the environment. The two large showcase photos have a beautiful blue sky and a green valley below. So I use that as inspiration to select colors that complement the photos. What about the embellishments? Well, the white clouds are actually sticker embellishments that I added to the background, which is supposed to mimic the sky in the photos. And the green grass at the bottom is a ribbon, and this element complements the green valley. You will notice that there are two blue-green tape stickers at the corners of the photos, and this coordinates with the color theme. I used a blue watercolor sticker to create a background for an earth quote. Now, on a side note, this is an important point for me as a designer. Take a look at the background, and you'll notice that it is blue at the top and then fades to white as you move toward the bottom of the page. I almost always select backgrounds that either have this type of fading effect, or I create this effect using faded ribbons that I place along the edge of the paper. And the reason why I select or create a faded effect is because it gives it more dimension to the background instead of it just being one flat color. I find the fading to be more aesthetically pleasing, so it creates more interest on the page. And the opposite goes for patterned backgrounds, which I almost always avoid unless it's varying shades of the same color in a pattern. Pattern backgrounds of varying colors create too much interest and they take the reader away from the photos. You know, I would love to do a video on background design. There's a lot that can be done with them. Okay, let's move on to the next example. The tricolor theme here is orange, cinnamon, which happens to be the frame color, and light brown. The supporting color is white. So take a look at the photos. Where did these colors come from? Is it environment? Is it people? Or is it a contrast? The answer is environment. We have an orange temple with shades of gray. Now you might have been tempted to say people when you see the lady and the older girl, but their clothing is actually more coral or pink than it is orange. And what about the embellishments that we have here? Well, if you take a look at the temples, they have a lot of intricately carved ornamentation. And because of this fine detail, you really want to complement it with small, fine embellishments. And if you were to use large, wide ribbons or stickers, it would just look garish. So I selected a reddish-orange fringe for the two sides and a narrow slanting ribbon across the top and bottom, with a small diamond ribbon to mark the boundary. A few small orange pins with brown circles and a couple pieces of orange tape are used as photo corners. And note how these are not placed on the same corners of every photo. This is done intentionally as part of the randomizing process. Don't forget, I have a video on that goes into detail, so you can check that out later. Moving on to the next example, the tricolor theme has magenta as the frame color, along with aqua and dark blue. The supporting color is white. And looking at the photos, why did I pick these colors? Is it environment, people, or contrast? Well, this is an example of people. Check out the bathing suits and you'll notice that they are pink or aqua. Now, this photo page is part of a book dedicated to a beach vacation, and I had already completed several pages where the colors were based on the environment. So they were sandy blue colors with shell stickers. I really needed to do something different because as you continued to flip through this photo book, it was starting to become redundant. That means it's no longer random, and the problem with this is that the patterning would be boring to the reader, so then of course they would be losing interest and engagement. That is why I switch up the color theme every few pages in my photo books. You have to keep it new and interesting so the readers remain engaged. For embellishments, the background page is called Blue Gradient, and it has pink at the top and it fades to blue at the bottom. This was a really great choice because it encompassed all the color theme. I didn't change it in any way. As I mentioned, magenta was the frame color, so I searched magenta in the ribbons and I came up with the small double-line magenta malachite that is used twice on the page. I also searched magenta in the stickers and I found the larger pink frame on the upper right corner, and I found the heart and the flower sticker that are used as corner embellishments. So this is a really helpful trick when you want more embellishments to coordinate with your color theme. Just do a search for color. The heart is an expression of love between the two girls, and the flower is tropical, so it reflects both the environment of the photo while adhering to the color theme. The sisters tag on the showcase photo is a great use of dead space. Take a look at our fourth example. The tricolor theme is maroon, navy, and the framing is done in beige. The supporting color is gray. Where did I get the inspiration for these colors? Is it environment, people, or contrast? Well, for this photo page, the colors come from the people, specifically the skirts that the young girls are wearing. This is one of those rare examples of patterned background, but you'll notice that the plaid stripes are small and muted so as not to stand out so much. The navy ribbon is placed vertically along the edge of the two showcase photos and also supports the idea of fabric. An old faded postcard with a handwritten font complements the ancient temples in the photos and also provides engagement, which is also accomplished with the text "Amazing" located in the dead space of the main showcase photo. Navy washi tape, along with some gray pins and navy circles, are used as photo corner embellishments. On to example number 5. Now for this particular page, I have created a recipe video that reveals all the background, ribbon, embellishment, and text options I used to make this page. So check that out on YouTube if you would like to replicate it for your photo book. It's titled Shutterfly Photo Book Page Design Recipe by PhotoBook Fanatic. In fact, I have 5 other recipe videos as well, and 2 of them are examples on part 2 of this video. So let's take a look at this photo book page. We have a navy background. We've got red framing, white ribbon, and embellishments. So is this color theme from the environment, people, or contrast? Well, we can eliminate people because there are none in the photos. Let's look at the environment. I don't see anything navy or red. So this is an example of contrast. Now you might say, well, how come you didn't choose a gray background to go with the castle? Well, when you do that, there is so much gray on the page that the castles in the photos are practically camouflaged, and that certainly doesn't do anything to gain a reader's interest. Then you might ask, well, how did you know to pick navy? And honestly, I just tried a bunch of dark colored background pages to contrast the castle, and I just happened to like navy the best. Interestingly, this is another example of a background with a color-on-color pattern that has a vintage look to it. The red is meant to contrast the blue, and the white complements the castle. The use of text boxes in the dead space is an example of engagement when you project a thought onto the reader. I actually discussed this exact photo page on my engagement video, so be sure to watch that for more information. The scalloped card with the script complements the castle photos as well. Okay, so now that you've learned the how and why of design aesthetics, it's time to complete an assessment to see how accurate your analysis skills are with a little test, which I will post on a separate YouTube video titled PhotoBook Page Design Tips and Techniques, Aesthetics Part 2 by PhotoBook Fanatic. Be sure to check it out along with my other PhotoBook Fanatic technique videos of engagement and randomizing. Plus, use my recipe videos to replicate Shutterfly PhotoBook pages for a variety